Have you ever looked at a woman completely obsessed with a man who barely acknowledges her and asked yourself, what does he have that others don't? It's not looks, it's not money, it's not status, it's something deeper, something psychological. And the truth? Most women don't even realize why they're addicted to him, but he knows exactly what he's doing. Modern relationships are broken. Men are disrespected, manipulated, and treated as disposable. Most men are stuck chasing approval, while the ones who get everything do the opposite. If you've ever been ghosted after giving your best, lost yourself trying to please someone who didn't value you, or felt like you're constantly one step behind, this is for you. Comment below, I'm the prize, because by the end of this video, you won't just understand it, you'll become the man she can't forget. Number 1. He leaves her with questions. The man who knows how to make a woman addicted to him doesn't speak in absolutes. He speaks in symbols. His actions imply more than his words ever reveal, and that alone drives her to madness, because women don't crave answers. They crave tension. They crave emotional puzzles. They crave the subconscious chase of being validated by someone who refuses to validate them in the way they're used to. He doesn't sit her down and explain how he feels about her every 2 days. He doesn't respond with paragraphs when she pulls away. He doesn't beg for understanding when she throws her emotional storms at him. He lets silence echo louder than any apology. He lets space speak the words he'll never say. He leaves her waking up wondering what last night meant, wondering if he meant what he said, wondering if his glance meant more, wondering if he's thinking about her like she's thinking about him. And that wondering becomes her addiction. That emotional ambiguity, that space between security and fear, is where her obsession is born. You see, a woman falls hardest for the man who remains a mystery. When a man tells her everything, when he constantly explains, when he dumps his emotional heart into her inbox, he kills the tension she needs to feel emotionally alive. But the man who stays centered in his silence, who chooses when to speak and when to withhold, who knows the value of space, becomes the question that haunts her long after he's gone. Imagine a situation where you pull back slightly after a deep emotional moment, not with anger, but with indifference. Her mind spins. Did I do something wrong? Why does he feel distant? Is he losing interest? And she starts over-investing, not because you demanded it, but because you let her question herself. This doesn't mean being emotionally unavailable. It means being emotionally disciplined. Speak when it adds value. Leave when she pushes boundaries. Say less when your words will be used against you. Don't text paragraphs. Don't explain your silence. Don't answer every call. Let her feel what life is like without your presence, and let her crave the security you choose to give, not the validation she demands. This works because most men today are emotionally naked by day 2. They overshare, they overexpose, and they kill mystery before it even begins. The man who leaves her with questions doesn't just become addictive. He becomes unforgettable. And that's the difference between being liked and being remembered. Start training this today by practicing the art of pausing before responding, withholding unnecessary details, refusing to explain emotions when they're weaponized against you, and by simply mastering the skill of being emotionally controlled, not emotionally reactive. The man who controls his presence becomes the man who controls her obsession. And once you stop giving women the closure they didn't earn, you start owning their emotional focus in a way they can't understand, but they'll chase for years trying to decode it. And if you want to master this power permanently, then the Stoic relationship blueprint is the next chapter you need to turn. It's not just a book. It's the final answer to the questions you've been left asking alone in the dark. Why do they lose interest when you give your best? Why do they chase the man who barely cares? Why does silence speak louder than love? This guide is your clarity. No games, just timeless psychological principles that shift everything. It's linked in the comments, and once you have it, it's yours for life. Every insight, every page, always within reach, always ready to remind you who you are. Don't hesitate. Don't wait for another heartbreak to wake you up. Get the blueprint. Own your edge. Never be confused again. Number 2. He stimulates her imagination. She doesn't become addicted to what you say. She becomes addicted to what she imagines you mean. She doesn't stay up thinking about what you actually told her. She stays up trying to decode the 10% you left unsaid. The man who understands this doesn't try to be emotionally perfect. He doesn't try to impress her with constant reassurance. Instead, he becomes a blank canvas for her projection, a silent screen where she plays the movie in her head of who you might be, and that's where the trap begins. This man never talks too much. He lets her overthink. He never corrects her when she assumes. He lets her fantasize. He never reveals all his moves. He lets her stay curious. You ever notice how the men she gets addicted to are the ones who always felt slightly out of reach? That's not by accident. That's by design. A woman's imagination is the most dangerous place you can live rent-free, because when she creates a fantasy, she ties it to emotion. And emotion, not logic, is what controls her loyalty. If you want her emotionally hooked, give her less information and more emotional moments. Give her unpredictable reactions. Give her short, powerful statements instead of explanations. If she asks where you were last night, don't say, "Out with the boys." Say, "Somewhere you'll hear about soon enough." Say it with a smirk and walk away. Let her mind go wild. Let her fill in the blanks with scenarios. When you don't chase her curiosity, you ignite it. When you stop oversharing, you start attracting. Most men are terrified of being misunderstood, so they overshare, they explain, they talk too much. But the man who stimulates her imagination never tries to control her perception. He uses it. He feeds her just enough energy to get her emotionally attached, then pulls back and lets her imagination do the work. This is where addiction starts. Think of the man who sends one photo of a view, no caption. She wonders who he's with, what he's doing, why he didn't explain. She checks his story. She texts. He doesn't reply right away. And now he owns her thoughts. This isn't about being manipulative. It's about understanding female psychology. Women crave emotional stimulation through unpredictability. Predictable equals boring. Predictable equals forgettable. You don't become unforgettable by being available every second. You become unforgettable by being felt more in your absence than most men are in their constant presence. If you want to build this trait, start by practicing discretion. Don't post your every move. Don't explain your plans. Don't always answer the phone. Let your life be partially hidden and your intentions partially veiled. Say just enough to spark curiosity and then vanish into your routine. Women don't fall for the loudest man. They fall for the man they can't fully understand. Because when she can't fully define you, she can't dismiss you. And when she can't dismiss you, she obsesses. Build your daily life around private wins, silent progress, and selective exposure. Let her imagination build the pedestal you'll never ask to stand on. Because when she fantasizes who you might be, no man alive can compete with the man she created in her mind, and she'll chase you trying to meet him. Number 3, he gives rare moments of real connection. The man she becomes addicted to doesn't flood her with affection. He rations it like something sacred, something earned, something that must be felt, not just heard. And it's in that scarcity that its power is born. Because when a woman experiences a moment of genuine connection with a man who doesn't hand it out carelessly, she doesn't just feel it. She remembers it, replays it, rewrites it in her head 100 different ways, until it becomes more than a moment, it becomes a part of her story. Most men make the fatal mistake of over-delivering too early. They compliment excessively, they validate constantly, they express all their emotions up front, not realizing that emotional overexposure kills the very tension that attraction needs to survive. But the man who becomes unforgettable, he controls his affection like a weapon. He gives warmth in moments of stillness. He drops truths in quiet vulnerability. He touches her hand with intention. He listens so deeply she forgets the world exists. And then, he returns to his center. He doesn't stay in emotional ecstasy. He doesn't try to maintain a constant high. He lets her feel what connection tastes like, then lets her hunger for it. That's the difference. You give her a taste of being seen, then you disappear back into purpose. She goes home and thinks, that wasn't normal, that was something. And now she's hooked, not to you, but to how you made her feel. The scarcity of real emotional connection in a world full of men who fake it makes your sincerity hit like a drug. But the key, it must be real. It must come from a place of truth. The way you look at her when she's not speaking. The moment you hold her gaze and say something nobody else noticed. The way you ask questions that go past her surface and into her soul. And then you let her sit in that feeling while you remain unfazed. Not to hurt her, not to tease her, but because you're not addicted to connection, you create it. And that alone makes her chase the next time she feels that safe, that seen, that known. You want to master this? Start by being intentional with every interaction. Don't compliment unless it's true. Don't share unless it adds depth. Don't validate unless she's earned it. And when you feel that moment arise, the quiet, powerful moment where time slows down, lean into it with presence, not performance. Show her the version of you that only a few will ever get to see. And when the moment ends, return to your rhythm. That rhythm is what she will crave. Because in a world where men use affection to manipulate, you use it to elevate. And that elevation becomes her new standard. One she'll keep looking for, long after you've walked away. Number 4. He doesn't need her. There's a level of emotional gravity that only comes from detachment, not indifference, but detachment rooted in purpose, in discipline, in a deep understanding that no woman will ever complete you, no relationship will ever define you, and no romantic connection will ever outweigh the bond you have with yourself and your mission. And that level of self-ownership is terrifying to most women, because when they meet a man who doesn't need them, who doesn't bend when they cry, who doesn't shift when they threaten to leave, who doesn't tremble at the idea of their absence, they don't feel rejected. They feel exposed. Exposed to the reality that their power doesn't work on you, that their emotions don't control you, that their approval isn't your currency. And in that exposure, they find obsession. Because most men are slaves to female attention. They live and die by her text, her mood, her interest. They mold themselves into her ideal. They contort their standards to win her presence. But the man who doesn't need her, he's untouchable, he's rare, and he's dangerous, because he can walk away at any moment, and she knows it. You ever notice how the man who pulls the most attraction is the one least attached to the outcome? It's not magic, it's focus. He's too focused on building, too invested in becoming, too locked in on who he's becoming to collapse at the sight of rejection. And that's what draws her in. Women aren't attracted to men who worship them. They're attracted to men who worship something greater, a vision, a future, a code. And when she enters that man's orbit, she feels it, not through words, but through presence. He doesn't try to impress. He doesn't try to convince. He simply is. And that being is enough to shake her foundation. If you want to build this power, stop chasing relationships and start chasing growth. Write your purpose in blood. Protect it like your life depends on it. Build a schedule that reflects your mission. Train your body. Educate your mind. Discipline your emotions. Create a life so complete that she either adds peace or she doesn't enter. And when she senses that you're good, not in spite of her absence, but because of your structure, she'll feel something she's never felt before: emotional powerlessness. And that powerlessness, it becomes her motivation to win your attention. Because when you stop needing women to feel whole, you start becoming the man they fight to feel seen by. Don't apologize for your independence. Don't soften your edge to make her stay. Don't adjust your vision to keep her comfortable. Let her feel your absence when she disrespects your presence. Let her see you shine while she's deciding whether you're worth respecting. Because the man who doesn't need her never needs to chase her. He simply becomes the gravity that pulls her back, again and again and again. Number 5. He knows when to disappear. The man who changes a woman's emotional chemistry is not the one who sticks around begging to be understood. It's the one who vanishes when his peace is disrupted, when his value is questioned, when his presence is taken for granted. And it's not in the disappearing that he gains power. It's in the timing, because he doesn't leave out of pettiness or ego. He leaves out of necessity, out of clarity, out of unshakable self-respect. And it's that cold, quiet exit that burns into her memory deeper than any confession of love could ever reach. Because when a man walks away without warning, without apology, without second chances, it forces her to sit in the silence she created, to feel the absence of the man who once brought order to her emotional chaos. And that silence, that still, brutal silence, becomes louder than any words she's ever heard. Most men don't disappear because they're addicted to emotional security, to female validation, to the illusion of control. But the man she cannot replace is the one who shows her that he will leave before he lets her disrespect him. And when he leaves, he doesn't announce it. He doesn't explain it. He doesn't chase closure. He simply stops showing up. And now, she's left checking her phone like an addict, scanning social media, rereading old texts, wondering where the shift happened. And the worst part for her is knowing he didn't leave because he stopped caring. He left because she stopped deserving it. You must understand this. Women don't obsess over availability. They obsess over distance, over mystery, over the loss of something they never fully owned. And when a man is strong enough to detach not out of rage but out of discipline, he becomes a ghost in her system, haunting her mind every time she meets a man too available, too nice, too easy to manipulate. You want to learn this power? Develop the courage to exit the moment your presence is no longer honored. Don't fight for closure. Don't wait for things to improve. Don't compromise your soul to maintain a seat at a table that feeds your weakness. When you sense that you're being tolerated, not respected, leave. When you feel the shift from connection to convenience, leave. And do it without a trace. Because the man who can walk away in silence, without bitterness, without fanfare, without needing to be understood, becomes the man she cannot erase, because in his absence, she sees his worth, and in that absence, she finally understands what she lost. The men who never leave are the ones forgotten. The man who walks away with quiet strength, he becomes legend. Train yourself for this by building a life that isn't dependent on any woman's approval. Build routines that don't require her input. Make your peace your highest authority, and when the time comes, when she crosses that line, disappear, not to hurt her, but to protect the man you've fought to become. Because the man who knows when to disappear never has to fight for respect. He commands it in silence. Number 6, he owns his purpose. He is not addicted to her attention, her validation, or her availability. He is addicted to movement, to mission, to the fire inside that tells him who he is when no one is watching. And it's that fire, that focus, that unwavering devotion to something bigger than her that makes him magnetic in a way she can't control or compete with. Because every woman is drawn to a man who doesn't need her to complete him, who doesn't get lost in her curves or moods, but remains laser-focused on the life he's building. And when she meets that man, she feels something primal. Not just attraction, but submission. The kind that comes not from dominance, but from presence, from vision, from the quiet, unshakable energy of a man who wakes up every day to chase his reason, not hers. Most men live like emotional satellites, orbiting around the moods of the women they love, rearranging their purpose to please her, killing their ambition to avoid her disapproval. But the man she becomes obsessed with, he is a planet unto himself. He moves whether she's watching or not. He builds when she's present and when she's gone. He doesn't pause his progress to answer texts. He doesn't slow his growth to accommodate her insecurity. And in that independence, he becomes irresistible. You don't need to be famous. You don't need millions. You need direction. Purpose is what makes a man unforgettable, because it builds an emotional current around him that no woman can ignore. Not because he brags about it, but because she can feel it. She sees it in his eyes when he talks about what he's creating. She sees it in the way he disciplines his time. She feels it when he prioritizes his goals over her temporary approval. And the more she sees he's not bending for her, the more she wants to belong to him. If you want to own your purpose, start by eliminating distractions. Cut out people who don't believe in your vision. Destroy habits that weaken your will. Schedule your time like your future depends on it, because it does. Invest in skills that increase your value. Learn how to lead, how to sell, how to create. Become the kind of man who doesn't just talk about potential. He executes. And when she sees you leading a life she wants to be part of, she'll follow. Not because you chased her, but because she recognizes you've built a kingdom worth submitting to. Stop waiting for a woman to inspire your purpose. Stop hoping she'll support your growth. Build it before she arrives. Let her meet you in motion. Let her see you so obsessed with your mission that she either becomes part of it or fades into irrelevance. And if she threatens to leave because your purpose comes first, let her go, because the man who trades his mission for a woman's presence will lose both. But the man who stays loyal to his path, he never walks alone for long. She may not understand it. She may resist it. But deep down, she respects it. Because every woman wants to belong to something greater than herself. And when she meets a man driven by vision, that's where she finally finds peace. Own your purpose. Guard it. Build around it. And let it be the gravity that pulls in everything and everyone meant to stay. Number 7. He doesn't reward drama. The man who triggers emotional transformation in a woman is not the man who reacts to every jab, who entertains every emotional spiral, who argues just to feel heard. It's the man who doesn't move unless it serves his values, who doesn't flinch when she lashes out, who doesn't validate disrespect with a response, because he understands one law that most men never grasp. Attention is currency, and when you give your attention to chaos, you become a slave to it. And the moment you reward drama with effort, you lose control of the frame, of the direction, of the relationship. A woman only continues to weaponize emotion when it works, when she sees that her coldness gets a reaction, her accusations get apologies, her outbursts get your energy. But when she throws the same storm and it lands on silence, on immovable presence, on a man who refuses to dance to her dysfunction, something begins to shift. She questions herself. She pauses mid-sentence. She rethinks the manipulation. Because the one thing a woman can't control is a man who controls himself. And when you withhold the very thing she's using to bait you, your attention, you starve the drama of the oxygen it needs to burn. Most men argue thinking they're defending themselves. They explain thinking they're clarifying. They beg thinking they're saving the relationship. But what they're doing is validating behavior that should have been met with detachment. The man who becomes her emotional reset button is the one who never negotiates with dysfunction. He doesn't yell. He doesn't explain. He simply stops participating. Imagine this. She tries to bait you with passive-aggressive silence. You go work out. She throws a fit because you're not reacting. You go make progress. She threatens to leave. You hold the door. And in that stillness, in that unapologetic withdrawal of energy, you become the mirror she has to face. Because there's no drama without audience. And when you exit the emotional theater, she either learns how to communicate or loses access to you. You want to embody this? Start with boundaries. Write them. Enforce them. If disrespect enters the room, you leave. If manipulation shows up, you go quiet. If she tests your limits, you show her they exist, not by screaming, but by disappearing into your discipline. The men who lose the game are the ones who confuse reaction with strength. But the man who remains grounded when tested, who protects his peace over her feelings, who refuses to lower his standard for love, becomes the force she cannot move. Because in a world where men are trained to beg for connection, the man who doesn't reward dysfunction becomes the standard she didn't know she needed, and the one she fears losing the most. Number 8. He shows her who she could be, then withdraws. He's not the man who changes her with his words, not the one who lectures her on growth or tries to fix her insecurities. He's the man who silently challenges her by simply being what she's never experienced, a mirror to the version of herself she never thought she could reach. And in his presence, without force, without judgment, she sees herself differently. She speaks with more intention. She carries herself with more grace, because he doesn't beg her to grow. He invites it by living his standard so unapologetically that she either rises to meet it or drowns in the distance it creates. And just when she begins to feel like she's becoming someone for him, someone worthy of his attention, someone elevated by the way he lives and holds himself, he steps back, not out of cruelty, but because he never needed to stay. He never made her the destination, and in that sudden withdrawal, in that return to his path, she's left holding a version of herself that only existed in his light. Most men try to fix women. They fall for potential. They waste years trying to pull her into a version of herself she never wanted to become. And in doing so, they lose themselves. But the man who shows her her own potential, not by coaching but by contrast, by staying so true to who he is that it exposes the parts of her that are unfinished, that man becomes addictive, because he doesn't force her to change. He forces her to want to change. And when he walks away, he takes with him the only man who ever made her feel like becoming something more. You want to understand how to live this truth? Stop explaining your standards. Stop compromising your habits. Stop softening your vision to keep her around. Live with such clarity, with such internal alignment, that your very presence convicts the people around you. Be the man who naturally makes her want to be softer, more feminine, more grounded, not because you told her to, but because she felt the difference when she was around you. And when she starts to become someone she likes more around you, someone more present, more vulnerable, more emotionally mature, and then loses you, that loss doesn't just sting, it scars. Because you weren't just another man. You were a mirror to her potential, a mirror to the woman she told herself she couldn't become. And when that mirror disappears, when the light fades, when your voice no longer guides her silently toward growth, She doesn't just miss you, she misses the version of herself that only existed beside you. And that's addiction. The kind she never saw coming. The kind that no rebound, no new guy, no social media validation can ever replace. If you want to be that man, be relentless with your standard. Be unbending in your code. Be consistent in your pursuit of mastery. And when you connect with someone who isn't ready to rise, don't plead, don't teach, don't convince. Withdraw. Let her feel the distance between who she is and who she could have become. And if she chooses to close that distance on her own, you'll know she's ready. But if she doesn't, you'll know she never was. Either way, you remain unshaken. Because you didn't fall for the version she's showing now, you honored the version she could be, and in doing so, you became the only man she may ever remember, not because of what you gave her, but because of who you forced her to become, even if only for a moment. If you've felt the pain of being ignored after giving your all, if you've watched her chase a man who gives her nothing while you sit there wondering what you did wrong, then this is your moment. The Stoic Relationship Blueprint is not just a book. It's your rebirth. It's the truth no one told you. It's the map out of weakness, out of emotional slavery, out of years wasted begging for love that was never yours to begin with. And once you see these truths, you can't unsee them. You become them. If you're ready to reclaim your power, stop chasing closure, and finally understand the psychology that makes her crave your presence, the link is in the comments. Get it now. Own it forever. And if you're serious, comment below. I choose power. Like this video, subscribe, and share this truth so more men can be saved from wasting another year in silence, confusion, and emotional chaos.